I'm a family constellations therapist for over 20 plus years. So I've done a lot of shadow integration support for people.
One of the things that I see in coaches is that they hide their human side, present themselves as superhuman beings.
I truly believe that most of the times entrepreneurs are more spiritual than the people that call themselves spiritual. You are going to have people that oppose you. You're going to have what people call haters. I used to write letters to God and leave it in my window, and my mother did something wonderful. She took those letters and she used to tell me God took them.
Could you share the defining moment that shaped your work and your philosophy?
I had a near-death experience, lost the arm, the leg, divorces, all of that. You wake up, you never know if you're going to live or not. You may have a disease, you may have a diagnosis, but you still go. You keep going. I'm going to tell you a secret.
Welcome to the Vegas Voices podcast. My guest today is Ivonne Delaflor, an entrepreneur, mentor, and spiritual teacher who embodies the profound power of faith and resilience. Born in Mexico, Ivonne has journeyed through near-death experiences, personal reinventions, and a deep commitment to helping others integrate the spiritual with the practical. Her work weaves together leadership, family systems, and the meditative art of tea to foster inner calm in a world often defined by chaos. I hope you find this conversation insightful and uplifting. Here is Ivonne Delaflor.
Talking about downloads, we're here with a download queen. She's my friend for a long time, Ivonne Delaflor. She's truly a Vegas voice. You've been here in Vegas how many years?
2015. So a lot of time.
I met you before, I think.
No, it was 2015 when you met me.
No way. What brought you here? How the heck?
Well, my former husband decided to move here, and I came here first for the party. You know, we used to come here just for all the shows, all the restaurants, all of the events. And then eventually, I'm going to tell you a secret. Well, not a secret anymore, but I did a joke on Facebook about April Fools. And I said, hey, I was living in Cancun. And I said to everyone, we moved to Vegas. And my former husband, then he grabbed the April's joke, and
April Fools.
April joke, April Fool. And he got a house, and then I couldn't say no, and I moved.
That's crazy because, I mean, we know you. We know you. You're going to probably prove us wrong, but we know you as a spiritual person. How does a spiritual person in Vegas, right?
I have the perfect answer.
There's a lot of spiritual persons in
Vegas. Look at you.
Yeah,
Look at him.
Yeah, that's all the iteration.
Right.
Okay, let's take it where he goes.
This is so fun.
Yes, I know. So
I came to Vegas, and then, for some people, this is going to sound bad, but in a dance to my former husband, some people come to Vegas to get married. I came here to get divorced.
Okay.
And that was an incredible experience because, it was like two different worlds, He continued to be, he's a businessman in the more hands-on world. And I went to the mountains and the red rocks and I went into the other side. It was like a yin and yang moment. And it was truly a detonating moment for me in the way I serve, in the way I work, and in the way of knowing who I am.
I met you in that period.
Exactly. And you met me, actually, I had let someone borrow my house for an event, and you came to that event, remember?
I remember.
We don't say names, but yeah, you came back.
Those things that are destined, right?
Totally destined.
Because we've been friends ever since.
Yes.
But you never know what people, what events, what podcasts, or what thing in the universe brings you to meet a person that you didn't even expect.
Exactly.
Right. Okay, Ivonne. So what experiences or influences in your early life led you to the path of personal development, spirituality, and leadership? Which is what
I'm going to start with my grandmother. I was 4 years old, and she was Catholic. As you know, a lot of us Mexicans were raised without choice as Catholics, right? And my grandmother used to take us to this Holy Mother Basilica, a church, to celebrate the Holy Mother on December 12th. And nobody wanted to go with her. It was 4 a.m. that you needed to wake up. I was there, and I was 4 years old. Every year, I used to love the celebration, the feeling. I never connected because I didn't have a very good memory. I was kind of ADD since the beginning, and I am still this day. Attention, diversified in divinity. Make a note, everyone. Attention, diversified, in divinity, ADD. But ADD totally, I just proved it. But so she used to take me, and my grandmother was super strong. She married my grandfather, who was 35 years older than her. And the leadership she had to have with her home, she carried a home. She was an incredible mother, waking up early, staying up later. So I practically, her modeling till this day is top in my human genome. Human genome.
Part of the story.
You didn't know, no, but that's my number one. And she was my connection to that spiritual part, and it was so powerful for me to watch her cook and serve. Like, I know nowadays people don't want to, and the feminine aspect of creation, and the women and the wives, they think they need to be working, but one of the greatest contributions we can do is be at home and cook and be a wife, and and so I learned that from her. I was not very successful in my marriage of that, but that doesn't mean that I didn't have that modeling that I wanted to model after. So she will be the first one. That's
Amazing.
it.
Then what
That's
then?
the God connection, woman connection, leadership connection, and modeling. Mothering, she modeled every aspect.
That's amazing. So then, I mean, I know, and this is like pre-scripted in a way, but my intention is to communicate you and give you a voice to people that don't know you, right? People in this town that want to hear the Vegas voices.
I love that you call Vegas a town. I mean, we just, the town.
It's a beautiful city.
Yeah, it
it's
is.
our community, right?
Yeah, it is.
We know a lot of people around here, and
Yeah. I met you here.
yeah, and I learned from you to take your downloads, right? This is a download, so I'm doing it, and I'm going and giving you a voice. So, anyways, what could you share the defining moment or wake up call that shaped your life, your work, and your philosophy?
At 17, and you know the story, I'll try to make it brief. At 17, I've always been very connected to God. Since that 4 years old with my grandmother, I used to write letters to God and leave it in my window. And my mother did something wonderful. My mother died from multiple sclerosis when she was my age, right? But she took the letters, like a Santa Claus moment. She took those letters and she kept them and told them, and she used to tell me God took them. So imagine me hearing God took them. I never doubted of God. So that was one. Then first, at 7 years old, we go to a movie, and in Mexico, there was lines and lines to be able to go in a movie, at least in our times, right? It was like lines and lines, and I was like, Mom, please, let's go see that film. I know in my heart that we're gonna get tickets. She drives, and it's every single sign is sold out. And a gentleman comes running to our car, knocks the window on my mom. My mom is like, everybody down. She thinks someone is going to steal. He says, ma'am, I have to go. I have an urgency. I have 3 tickets. We were 3. Do you want them? And we had the tickets of the movie. But what most important was, is like, when I go down of the car, my mom grabs my shoulder. Then that's neuroassociative conditioning. It's like NLP. And says to me, looking in my eyes, I have never met someone with such a strong faith as yours. That was the gift my mother gave me. No money, no nothing, but that, because till this day, my work is faith in action. Is how do I help people take their faith, businesses, entrepreneurs, how can you have more faith in yourself, right? And so that was one. And then the other one was, of course, at 12, my grandfather dies in my arms. I'm in the house with him. He has a cerebral stroke. And I'm talking with him, and he falls at superhuman force. I carry him like 12 years old, and I watch him literally go through all the process. And I stay with my grandmother to take care of my grandfather. So that's another one death. So I have, my mother, faith, then the divorce of my parents, then the death of my grandfather, and then my death, which was 17 years old. I lost an arm, lost a leg, car accident, should be fatal, but we crashed with the Holy Mother of Guadalupe, and here I am. So, but of all those moments, I knew that God existed. I had no doubt. I didn't have to think it outside. So I know it's a long thing, but
that was not long at all. I knew it from another angle.
But I call it the three. You know how they call, in nutrition, they call it the white deaths: sugar, salt, and flour. For me, my white deaths were death, divorce, and disease. The disease of my mother, multiple sclerosis, the death of my grandfather, and also of my mother, and the divorce of my parents. So those have been my awakeners in a way.
Thank you, Ivonne.
Yeah.
Okay, so for those who are unfamiliar with your work, how would you describe your mission and the essence of what you do?
Oh, I am fueled by faith, and so my fuel is faith, faith in creation, faith in what we can do. And the essence of what I do is literally support people systemically and spiritually to take their faith into action. And I know that everybody takes their faith into action even if they don't know it. You wake up, you never know if you're going to live or not. You may have a disease, you may have a diagnosis, but you still go. You keep going. But how can we turn that faith into action efficient for the purpose of getting the results that you want? So that's the essence of my mission. And I'm fueled by the same thing that I do. You see, many people have a why that is different than the what. Mine is the same. Faith, faith. Now the how, I have never figured it out. I leave it to the Creator, to infinite intelligence, it doesn't matter how the how will come. We got to make it work. So.
That's fantastic. You're being very succinct. I'm very amazed because you're always very verbose. But that's okay. I have enough questions for you to answer.
I have just, I really I want to serve tea.
I mean, we can get into that right as we go.
Yeah.
And we can have tea.
Yes.
Now, the thing is, before we get into that, right? I see that a lot of people that follow spiritual people and this whole spiritual train, and we're derailing into it, but I want to, is that they think that, the gurus or great aware people, they don't have challenges. And I see have challenges, right? And you were just talking about that. How do you take your faith, within your challenge?
That's been such a challenge. And you have been extremely helpful for that throughout me being a friend with you, because you always said, it's like whenever you have that type of energetics, right, component, you are going to attract people that is like, oh, the guru, or you should save me. And I will be saying to you, I know, and boom, over and over again. But, no matter how I have labeled myself, like entrepreneur, mother, like I land in the spiritual niche just because I speak about things that I have gone through. But how I deal with that, it's like if I will call myself a spiritual teacher, I will be a total out of the norm kind, because I don't, even though I do it, I'm not a believer of like, burn the sage, or like get rid of the bad guy, or like the energetic vampires are coming. No, I believe I'm responsible for that. If I'm attracting something, it's me. I need to be the sage for my own equation of my own clearing. There's no witchcraft, there's no other that. I know there's a lot of beliefs in that, and I'm respectful of that. But what I have learned over the years, and I'm 53, I just turned 53 right now, is that
great.
Spirituality, it's everywhere. I truly believe that most of the times entrepreneurs are more spiritual than the people that call themselves spirituals, because they are, driving forces for society, contributing to the community. And, in everything, spiritual or not, you are going to have people that oppose you. You're going to have what people call haters. You are going to have the contradiction. And that just puts you in a place where you get to choose who you are and just keep moving forward, no matter what. And one of my mentors, Tim Grover, always says, I used to go down on my horse. He's like, why are you going down to your horse to help others? Tell the people that are down to go up in your horse. So I've been learning that until now, but there's a lot of challenges. I mean, I'm doing this interview with you with a broken leg. I may have surgery in February, but since Sergio said, let's bring the tea, I'm like, let's go. Let's go. But challenges are, I think there's no spirituality without a challenge.
Okay.
That's it. Having a revelation right now.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing and for having it in our podcast. Okay. So tea. How does tea fit into the picture right now? I've seen you in so many iterations, but right now this is your latest identity, right? And it just, you light up completely.
This is like a whole another life experience. So tea has been, it's been a companion for me. It arrived to my home when I used to live in Cancun like 25, 27 years ago. There was a tea ceremony person that arrived to live a little bit in our home. And then there was a tea ceremony person that came to do tea ceremonies at home. I began to get all these sorts of gifts from Japan and China, but I was kind of numb to it. I didn't, you know when sometimes you get opportunities and they call you and you are not ready or you don't pay attention? But they kept coming and coming and coming. And I started practicing and I remembered, I had a memory in my body. Like if there's such thing as lifetimes before, I had them. Because I used to do it and meditate with it. And it didn't dawn upon me that I was doing that until I found some of my first Chinese teachers. And I went to the Shaolin Temple. And I was drinking tea at the Shaolin Hall where people train of tea ceremony and then they do calligraphy and something ignited me. I was like, I've been doing this for the whole of my life. And I was so shy about it. I was like, who is gonna be interested in sitting down with me and drinking tea? And you've seen. Now, like literally hundreds of people have come to this little space, and I know more people by sitting, drinking tea than anything else. And so ask me questions because this is like...
Tea is like your bar.
This is my bar. Come to my bar. I have drinks to serve people. This come to Vega. This is where we turn Sin City into Zen City. Z-E-N. Zen City.
Fantastic. Where's my cup?
Well, yeah, let me serve to you. So let me just explain to you. Tea ceremony is also called Cha Dao, the flow of tea, or Gong Fu Cha, the mastery of the skill of tea. It's like Kung Fu. Kung Fu is the mastery of your movements. My son does Kung Fu. But tea, if you can move with awareness and you can take every single movement as part of a practice of mindfulness, it's for everyone. That's why Bruce Lee used to use it. Before training, during training, after training, before competing, if he won, if he lost, very rarely he lost, he will always drink tea because the tea has the ability to bring you back your awareness to the presence of the now. You cannot drink tea tomorrow. You cannot drink tea yesterday. You can tell me, yes, but I'm going to drink it tomorrow. Where is the cup? You need to arrive to this moment. You need to be present in the moment to drink the cup. And you got to empty the cup. It's so symbolic because the cup represents the mind, right? And you gotta have an empty cup to be able to pour a good tea. And then you gotta drink it smoothly and slowly so you can enjoy it. So we're gonna drink a tea from Tea and Whisk. I am an affiliate. We can give a discount to all of your listeners if you want.
Fantastic.
I will give you a link for them to get a 10% discount. And obviously we already cleaned the tea. We prepared the water before because we are not going to do a tea ceremony here. I wish, but so you get to enjoy this. It's called Jinjun Mei. It's a black tea from China. Of course, I have a beautiful cup. You too have a beautiful cup. And so you grab it smoothly. And the purpose of holding the cup is not only just to drink the tea. It's not an automatic thing. It's to understand that I'm holding the tea and it's connected with my whole arm. It's my whole body. The drinking of the tea is not only the cup, it's my whole being. Can I be so present drinking the tea and enjoy? Cheers. Yeah. Cheers. And pardon the sounds, but that's the sounds that you do while drinking the tea. You're like, all the things that our mothers told us not to do when we were children, you are allowed to do them because it simulates like the rocks in the ocean and you cool down the tea, and it's just so beautiful. But this is such an incredible practice because as soon as I sit down with a cup of tea, like my mind calms down. I often say that I sit down my dark side on the tea table so I can calm it down, I can train it and use my light side with the elements of the dark side for the good of people.
Dark side, I don't believe that.
But the dark side,
You're a spiritual person. What are you talking about?
You have a dark side. Let's talk about it.
I know that.
You know it. The dark side and the light side is not like evil. Let's not confuse the dark side with evil. There's people that are evil. But the dark side is like when we have hidden, like our fears, our worries, the things that we don't, we hide, the monsters in the closet, as Tim Grover calls it, right? Like the regrets and all of that we have repressed or the traumas from childhood. So I sit down with that, can I sit still with all of that I'm also that? And can I brew it in a way that, like a tea, can I brew it in a way that instead of like having grudge or regret, I can have understanding. Instead of having like hatred for someone, I can have compassion and forgiveness. So that's what I'm saying. It's like the tea, you know, it's dark for the tea to go in a teapot and be brewed with hot water. It used to be a happy leaf, and suddenly it's like brew and offers itself, sacrifices itself for us to have the light, which is the tea. Right? So I see that as the dark side. I don't see it as evil. Now, evil is another thing, and there's people doing terrible things in the world. That I hopefully don't have it. You know? And I said hopefully because I never know. I never
know. That's a really good answer. Okay, so let's bring it back to our listeners, right? What practical tools or habits do you recommend for someone looking to make a meaningful shift in their life?
Okay, number one, movement, physical movement with your body. Like whatever you can do, even if you cannot move, you can just move from here to here. Now, right now that I can barely walk right now just because of the leg or something. Can we do movement with our arms? Can we do breath work? Can we do, anything that is physical movement? Because we're in the body and we're on this planet and we need to honor the body. And this is not a cliche. This is not a woo-woo thing. It is practically, where there's no movement, there's no life. So number one, movement. And let me call my dog. Come on, Rio. So this is my dog. See, I just did a movement. Come here. And then the second one is breath work. And you do breath work. You practice breath work a lot. Because the breath is, and people tell me, but why breathing with awareness? Or why? I breathe all day. Yeah, but you don't breathe with awareness, right? You get to bring more air, more oxygen into your bones, into your mind, just to be more clear, even if it's only 1 minute. And then the third one, have a practice. I have a very simple practice, Sergio. I do my bed. Honestly, if I don't do my bed, my whole day goes like crooked. If someone else does my bed, it's like something is missing. I really believe that having a win every morning sets the tone for a winning day. And that's practical, that's non-spiritual, or spiritual, that's non-cliche. Anybody can do that. Very practical.
Wow. 3 things.
3 things.
So let's summarize. It was movement, breath, and have a win.
I have a win every day. Mine is making my bed. Making my bed. And of course, then you can stack them. Yeah, whatever win you do, and I did my groceries, or I called that client, or I did one sale, one thing at a time, and it begins to stack. And you begin to get used to winning.
So it doesn't have to be a big thing. It's just...
No, because the small things are the big things eventually.
You're right. I hadn't...
Love nature.
I hadn't seen it that way. Can I have more tea?
Yes, please. Oh, yes. Shall I serve you?
I just went through.
This is my favorite podcast, everybody. I have never gotten to serve tea in a podcast before.
Well, that's the whole point.
Yeah.
We're going to...
We're giving a voice of tea.
We're going to people's environments, to our Vegas voice environments. Every podcast is different. Every podcast has a little different thing because it's in the environment of the person that we're interviewing. I don't want them to go to create an environment for me. I want to go to them and give them a voice.
That's amazing. So bring all of your podcast guests to have a tea ceremony and we can film it.
Yeah, I mean, we can get some more info on that later.
Yes.
Perfect.
All right.
Cool. Your message resonates globally.
Yeah.
How do you integrate your international outlook with supporting the local Las Vegas community or similar communities?
That's such a great question because it's not until like last year that I began to really think of community. I started more global and then I'm going more micro. And usually, and this is an invitation for everyone, because sometimes I went international just because I was working in Mexico first, and then I came to live to the United States. It happened naturally. But the community, I started in Cancun, I did the local, the micro. The micro always creates a macro. Micro input creates a macro output. And then when I came to Vegas, it went macro. And now I'm focused on the micro. So it's kind of like a cycle, like a natural cycle. But one of the things I'm doing here in Las Vegas is inviting people literally to sit down, network, drink tea. As simple as that. I'm not like, oh, what am I going to sell? Am I going to open a business? I already have my mentorship and coaching business. I'm about to publish finally a book that I've been pending, have like 5,000 years and lifetimes, but independently of that, I like to bring the community in my home and sit down and have tea. And you've been here, like the way that we all connect, because with tea, there's no judgment. Everybody can drink it. There's no religion involved. You can have any religion and everybody's welcome. So that's how that's how I naturally am. I wouldn't call it balance. I don't know if there's such thing as balance, but I will call it an integration, a harmonization.
How do you go about your teaching and helping others at this time?
Can you be more specific? Like teaching others?
Your programs, your teachings, your
depending,
coachings.
For example, I do a lot. I'm a family constellations therapist for over 20 plus years. So I've done a lot of shadow integration support for people. I'm graduated in leadership education too. So all my framework of the work that I coach people on business and etc. is based on systemic. Like if someone has a challenge, I can see where maybe is that a pattern that you used to have with your mother? Or in sales, right? Like, oh my gosh, the sales can't happen. I mean, oh, well, who told you that? Nobody told me that, but my uncle tried to sell, and it doesn't matter who is it. It doesn't matter if it's top, low, they started, they begin. There's always the filter of the family system. There's always the filter of the voices of the past. And so my job is to take those voices, actualize them, make them present, and for them to ask, whose voice is that? And then do whatever we can to turn it around for them to take their faith into action and make efficient choices and make a plan. Make a plan, go effective, and just make it happen and have results. I'm super geared about that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. So let's go from micro again to macro, right? The world has undergone massive changes in the recent years. How have you adapted both personally and professionally to remain centered and effective in helping others?
Well, I am used to change. As I share with you, I had a near-death experience, lost the arm, the leg, they put it back, divorces, all of that. And everything in life calls us to adapt. I have a little formula for any chaos, any challenge right now, like with my leg, etc. You have to adapt. Number one, you have to be aware of your circumstance, right? Like this is what's happening right now. So what can I do with what is happening right now? Like right now, I'm not going to run a 100-mile race, because it's not possible. Or I stopped doing 75 hard on repeat, although I could do it, adapted, but So I got to adapt. So that's number one. Number two is we need to consistently make decisions. But not any decision. You have to have a clear decision. Someone just told me, Ivonne, your capacity to decide for this legal thing is skewed because you have a lot of traffic in your mind. My former husband, Enrique. I was like, wow, that's amazing, thank you. He's like, you like it? I'm like, this is incredible. For me to know that certain area in my life is filled with traffic of emotions or feelings, so I gotta make a decision with clarity, right? Then the third step is to take action. So we're going through the letters A, D, A, P, T, adapt. To take action, whatever action you can take, small or I always believe in small actions, right? Like I cannot do a lot, but I can call the doctor. I cannot do a live event, but I can do coaching through computers. So I adapt to what I can take in action. And then the P is having a plan. Having a plan, practice, and be consistent with that. Without plan, people will perish. And then T, I always seek for, is this going to transform me and those I serve? Is you and I sitting on tea? Is Ivan that is behind the scenes with us today? Is there anything that I can say, do serving tea that will help us all transform? Even if it's one little thing, maybe it's like, my transformation is that I don't want that tea anymore, Ivonne. Okay, you gotta know. My transformation is that this chair was uncomfortable. Oh, okay, I got a feedback. There's always an opportunity to transform. So I base my life on those guidelines most of the time, not all of the time, because I'm superhuman and sometimes I'm super tired and I'm like, I want just to go in drama mode, but I can't because my framework doesn't let me fall.
One of the things that I see in coaches and people in your line of work is that they hide their human side and they just try to present themselves as superhuman beings to the world when it's not. We're all flawed humans and we have our pains and we have our challenges.
Right.
That's something that I admire a lot about you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Arya. Thank you.
You're welcome. So, when you think about the future, what impact do you hope your teachings and initiatives will have on the next generation?
Well, I used to have a program called 100 Years From Now, which we were educating. I don't know if you knew that.
No.
But in Cancun, I opened a movement called 100 Years From Now, and we used to coach and mentor the youth, 14 years old, 15 years old, in leadership, in spirituality, and in skills of like how to open their website, how to open a business. So I truly believe that educating the youth. But lately, Sergio, because that's already in motion. I said that in motion. Over the years, we have helped hundreds of families already. But right now, I have, 2 books that I'm going to publish, but one that I'm going to publish, it's, and I think I can say it in your podcast because it's already registered, it's called If I Was Your Mother. And my intention is to leave a legacy where any human, no matter how flawed it is, can receive a word of affirmation, a word of encouragement, a forgiveness request, a kind of a healing from the mother energy for them. I really believe that that's going to help and impact a lot of people, but that's just new. I'm just sharing it in your podcast.
It probably just came out. It's demoed, no?
Yeah.
Crazy. Okay. So, that was my next question. If you had any upcoming books, any retreats, programs that you're excited about.
I do.
And you can share.
I do. So, depending on surgery or not, the leg, so I have a retreat the first time in years. Every year I've done a program called The Power of Scientific Prayer. People come back every year. Now we have a recurrent audience. This year was the 7th year. But for the 8th year, we're going to Mexico. It's always on December. Come on. Yeah. This is Oreo. It's always on December, and we're going to go to La Villa because for me, La Virgen de Guadalupe, the Holy Mother, is very important. We're going to meditate. We're going to practice the science of scientific prayer. And we're going to also go to the pyramids. So it's the first retreat. It's live, and people were very excited. So the announcement of that comes at the end of January. And I think I have time. Surgery is not, because that's until December of 2025, but that's on the books. And then I have my book, which we are, the publishers are hesitant to which one publish first. Both are ready. So we'll see what they choose. But one, I already told you the name. And the other one I can share with you because I shared it before. It's called The Calming Effect. And that book is 20 years of my experience plus. And the power of how life is really a storm. Life is not calm at all. Everybody is not calm. Spirituality, all what you see, Om, Namah Shivaya, all that stuff, no. Life is a storm. Calm is like the reward that we give ourselves where we get to see like, this is life. So that's my book. So you're the first ones that I'm speaking about it.
Thank you, Ivonne.
With Oreo.
Thank you for the exclusive.
Yeah.
So if you could leave our listeners with one empowering message or piece of wisdom, what would it be?
Yeah. So even if it sounds like a cliche, even when you don't feel that you have faith, when you feel that you are losing it, when you feel that you are alone, know that there is an infinite force, infinite creator that already believes in you. So when people say, I don't have faith, you don't have to. Something in life already has faith for you. If not, you couldn't breathe. So know that when you feel at a loss, when you feel at a storm, your surfing board for those storms in life will be the faith that existence and life itself already has in you.
Thank you, Ivonne. I'm sure you're going to inspire a lot of people with this message. So then, if somebody wants to reach out to you, how can they find you?
Yeah, they can send a message to Ivonne, like my name, Ivonne, Ivonne, at delaflorteachings.com. That's our company. We have a spiritual and systemic coaching and mentoring company that helps entrepreneurs, business, individuals, etc. You can also find us online at ivonnedelaflor.com. That's our new website, or in social media, the same, my name. We just put it finally, after years of his counsel, everything is with my name. I had it like 10,000 names, but finally.
It's super unique. And I'm glad that you're taking on that mission of going out.
Yeah, finally. Well, I have support here. And the last thing, we can give them a discount of 10% for the teas.
Absolutely.
All organic teas, all the most pure, and they are great for meditation and contemplation.
So I'm pretty sure you'll find the link somewhere wherever this is.
I'll give it to you.
Social media, or if it's in.
But only for the people of your podcast.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you for that exclusive, and thank you for being an amazing Baywest voice.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, everyone.